about what it's like to work at the team at Realtor.com, learn more about what they're looking for, learn about their own experiences. So what I'm going to do is have the panelists from Realtor.com introduce themselves. And then once they've done that, we'll go ahead and jump into your questions. If you do have questions, please drop them in the Q&A box. If you see a question that you really want to see have answered, please go ahead and upload it. And if you have a question for a specific panelist, you can go ahead and put their name in the question too, and I'll make sure it goes to them directly. So now I will turn it over to Ruchi. Ruchi, if you want to introduce yourself and then just pass it to the next person on the panel, we'll get everyone introduced and then we'll jump into questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rana. So my name is Ruchi Kocher, and I'm the engineering manager for User Activation Squad, which is one of the squads of the mobile team. And I have been with this company from last 8 years, and it's been great experience working in RDC. So, and I would also be leading this effort for apprenticeship program from the engineering side. So yeah, nice to meet you all. And I'll pass it to Jen.
Hey, thank you, Ruchi. Hi, Jen Mendez, she here. I'm part of the mobile engineering team. Director of engineering for iOS and Android. I'm super excited to be here. I actually been part of another apprentice program like 2 jobs ago. So I'm super excited to be partnering again with Onramp to do this apprenticeship. Last time was on Android, this time is on iOS. So yeah, I'm very excited. And welcome all of you to this panel. And I've been here in RDC for more than a year ago. I'm in the Bay Area and I'm a former Android developer. Yeah, and ask away later. Thank you. And I'll pass it to Fernando.
Hello, so my name is Fernando. I am from Brazil. I joined Realtor almost 2 years ago. And I work for the home squad. We take care of all the listing detail features in our app. We also take care of the lead submission. That's one of our main monetization ways. That's how we make money in the app. So I joined to help with Flutter and iOS. We are moving away from Flutter. So we are mostly like native iOS and native Android right now. I have a background of computer science and also project management. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully I can have a nice chat with you today and answer your questions. I'll pass to Eric.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Eric. I'm from New York, so the East Coast of US. I've been with Realtor for about 6 months now. So still pretty new, still learning a lot about the company. I'm on the user activation team with Ruchi. So we handle a lot of things surrounding the users like login, registration, notifications, stuff like that. Yeah, so I've actually don't have a traditional background. I have like an accounting degree. So I've been in your shoes like 4 or 5 years ago. So I totally understand what it feels like. So yeah, hopefully I can help out some of you guys today. I'll pass it over to Rodrigo.
Hello, my name is Rodrigo. I'm iOS developer for the search and discovery team. I joined Realtor 6 months ago, and I'm based in Vancouver, Canada. I work right now on the rental team, so on the search for rental property. And yeah, I've been living in Canada for almost 7 years. I was developer for 5, almost 6 years. So yeah, I'm having a great time. We have a good people in our team and all the squads, and we have a good interaction among all the squads. So yeah, super nice. And I'll pass to Diana.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Wang. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada as well. I'm more from the HR recruiting side. So I'm the recruiting manager for technology. Has been with the company for 8 years, pretty same. We joined at the same time with Ruchi. So if anyone has any question regarding our company culture, HR, I'll be more than happy to help you.
Great, thank you all so much. So we're going to jump into the questions. It looks like the top question folks want to have answered. And panelists, just so you know, I'll put these questions out popcorn style unless somebody's name is explicitly mentioned in the question. So feel free to just unmute and jump in there. For participants who have come in late, if you do have questions, please drop them in the Q&A box. We'll be using that. If you see a question that's already been asked that you want to have answered, go ahead and upvote it so that I know to prioritize that. And also quick disclaimer, if you have questions about the Onramp application, please send those to support@onramp.io or read the FAQ on the role page. But if you have questions for the team at realtor.com, that's what we'll use this time today for. So our most upvoted question is, what are the top skills realtor.com is looking for in candidates?
So I can take that question for now. Technically, skill set wise, we would like them to have a very basic knowledge of Swift, a bit knowledge of GitHub and databases. But most importantly, what we are looking is in these candidates are basically the positive attitude, passion to learn about things, willingness to learn, and can-do attitude towards any challenges. So these are the things which we are looking.
Great, thank you. How large are the software engineering teams at realtor.com?
Sorry, could you say it again? I couldn't hear you.
How large are the software engineering teams at realtor.com?
Yeah, so the whole realtor.com, or you're looking specifically for the mobile?
I'm guessing specifically mobile,
Okay.
but sometimes
Yeah.
people just want to get a sense of like how things are organized in general.
Okay, so I can definitely give you the numbers for mobile and maybe high level for the whole REC. So for mobile, we have about 30 plus engineers in the mobile team, which support both Android and iOS platforms. We have 5 different squads in the mobile team. So each squad has about 7 to 8 engineers per platform. And the whole, I think, realtor.com, we may have 100 plus engineers, maybe more than that, which support software engineering side.
Great, thank you. This question is for Eric. This person, Susan, also has an accounting background and recently completed a coding bootcamp, as I'm sure is true for many people on this call. Eric, would you be willing to further describe your journey to software engineering, and what specific advice would you give to those who are coming from a non-traditional background?
Yeah, sure. So I think what's important, I found important, was just spending enough time to catch up to the other people with traditional backgrounds. So you're willing to invest maybe 3-4 hours a day for a couple months. I think you can play catch up pretty fast if you're dedicated enough. Yeah, so I'll say that would be the main thing.
And they also were kind of asking what your journey was like, how you made that pivot from accounting to software engineering.
Sure. So I actually never did any professional work. So I started learning kind of like my last year at undergrad. So maybe for like a semester or so, I was just like studying on the side while I was just like trying to get by school. So I did manage to land kind of a small internship, kind of like a similar thing to this, with a much smaller company, like I think like 10 people company, very small team. So I was there for about a year, and then I transferred to another company, and this is like my 3rd company. So yeah, I'd say this is a really good opportunity for people to just get like real world experience. So I really did grow a lot from that internship in the beginning.
Great, thank you. This question is for the panel. How would you describe the culture of the iOS engineering team and at Realtor.com in general?
I can answer this one. So the culture, we are a pretty collaborative team, a pretty diverse team. We have like people with different backgrounds of different places of the world, not just North America. We work, even though we have different squads, like Ruchi mentioned, we have 5 separate squads. We basically work together. We have weekly meetings with all the iOS engineers. We help reviewing each other's pull requests. So we try to keep our team integrated, not just with our internal squads, but also with all the other squads to make sure that we are not doing any duplicated work, that we are using the same best practice. And about Realtor, I think it's pretty similar. Our whole company is pretty diverse, and I can say that because I am from like another country, and I was always like very happy of working with the team, with everyone that I talked about, and yeah, I have nothing to say bad things about. I guess like anyone that joins Realtor will be pretty happy in terms of like collaboration and learning, and yeah.
Great. This is also for the panel. And if multiple people want to answer, please feel free. What's one thing that surprised you upon joining the Realtor.com team?
I can take that. Actually, a couple of things. And number one, I would say the size of the company, which is not very big, like bigger, big companies where you don't have voice, neither very small like a startup where you do not have any structure. So we have a right balance here where your voices are heard. You can do much more impactful work and get more, and faster opportunity to grow. And the second thing I would say, the work-life balance. I've been working in this company from the last 8 years. It never happened that, I have to work, late at night or working hours or during the weekend. So yeah, work-life balance is pretty good in Realtor, as well as the culture and the values.
Yeah, I kind of want to add something to just from the technical perspective. So the Realtor is a pretty old code base. So it's good to see like a lot of ideas. It's the code base has been run through many people, and so they have like old technologies, but now we're trying to like implement like new ones with like Swift UI and all that cool stuff that Apple's making. So it's very interesting to see how we're bringing all those together.
I'll take a stab. It's more than a year that I joined. I think for me, I remember starting my first day and I was like already like mobile, and what makes it very made it very easy to onboard and start like learning a lot was the people. Everybody was super helpful, providing like the information, answering questions, having a lot of patience on me, on like asking and why. But also like people are very passionate about their own role and their own work and their own goals. So if because everybody was so passionate about their own work, it just made collaboration and just moving forward or executing on things or driving change, it made it easier to work with and just to be part of it. I think for me, people is what really like, oh, okay, even though it's a big company and sometimes things can get bureaucratic, like people make the difference.
Beautiful. I think this question piggybacks on that question a little bit. It's for those of you with 3 or more years of experience at Realtor.com. What's the biggest reason you extended your tenure there rather than making the jump to another company?
This is for you, Ruchi, or Diana.
I was taking some time to think about it. That's a great question. I would say the people and the culture, of the team, as well as the opportunity to grow, in this team. So we have a great culture to help and support each other, enabling team and colleagues to succeed. We also encourage, Realtor.com also encourage everyone to be their whole selves. And yeah, I think these things plus, I would say, opportunity to grow. I remember 8 years ago when I joined Realtor.com, I was an IC, and I told my manager that I would like to get into the mobile. I joined as a mobile web and IC, and then I got shifted to Android. And after that, I asked my manager if I can learn iOS. And then from there, they carved out a plan for me to get into iOS. And then, I got this opportunity to get into management. So yeah, I've been growing fast in this company, and I've been getting great opportunities. And yeah, these are the things I would say which keeping me here in this Realtor.com.
Yeah, I want to echo what Ruchi mentioned. It's really about the people, the team I've been working with. 8 years, if you check my LinkedIn profile, you probably see how I progress in the company. It's similar as Ruchi, I joined the company as individual contributor and then got promoted and then to people manager. You can do a lot of different things, make a lot of impact. Even like my position is nothing to do with technology, not coding, but it still is like you can do a lot of things here, like change the process, improve process, build something new, try out, and then continue improve it. It's a lot of fun working in this company, and also I always call my team my family, not my team, because we're so close. Even nowadays, we're really like remote. Not a lot of people actually going to the office. We're still really close connected, collaborate on every single day. And it's a lot of fun to work with the team here.
Thank you so much. This next question is, once hired as a full-time iOS engineer, and I'm guessing that this actually has to do with during the apprenticeship period, what does mentorship look like for the apprentices? What does Realtor.com do well to help support the apprentices or new hires and help them hit their goals?
I can take that question. So for this apprenticeship program, there would be a proper plan in place, the documentation in place for the candidate in regards to what they'll be doing each week or month or this, 6 months of this apprenticeship. Each candidate would be getting a mentor assigned to them who will be working very closely with them and also providing them the right help, structure, support to make them successful. So yeah, we are there to help you in whatever regards, the help you need. So we are there to support you. So we will be providing the documentation, proper plan for each week, each month for the entire apprenticeship.
Thank you so much. And then while in the actual apprenticeship, what makes an apprentice stand out from like just passing to surpassing expectations?
I can take it. Sorry, I was like drinking tea. I think for an apprentice to surpass is the eagerness to learn and put on the work. Like, okay, I don't know, and it's okay to feel uncomfortable because I'm going to learn something new. But it's feeling uncomfortable and doing the work and getting out of that feeling and having the energy to work with your mentor to achieve your goals. I think it's also something that I've saw in the past from apprentices is that beyond the learning the task or learning some area to be able to achieve the goal is, did you learn something different or did you learn anything new because you decided to be more curious? Like one thing it's about like, oh, we need to implement this list, right? And like, maybe that's the goal and you could implement that list, but maybe you got a little bit more curious on, hey, what if I add these component to the list? And this is something I don't know how to do, but I just want to learn. And you do it besides what your goal is. I think like that's what makes the difference between passing and surpassing.
Yeah, I can add to that because we know, like you are all going to be learning something new. It's a new environment and it's an apprenticeship program, so we are not expecting you to be like in a high level in terms of technical knowledge. So especially personally for me, I think the important part are the soft skills, how you are going to approach like daily problems, how committed you are to resolve something. So if someone asks for you to like change the texture to add a button to a screen, it's not just going there and change the code to add this button. It's important that you try to understand why it's there, what's the purpose, and try to figure out like our business and understand why what you're doing has some value. So I guess overall, for example, Eric, he took this path of moving from accounting to technology, and he's doing so well that I didn't know that until last week. I thought it was like an engineer with previous experience, but his accountability and his approach to the problems that he takes every day makes him pretty valuable for us, and hopefully some of you will be valuable as well.
Thank you. Diana, this one's for you. Two questions about onboarding and benefits. So one question was, in a remote environment, how are new hires onboarded? And then the second question was, are benefits such as health insurance, PTO, et cetera, offered during the course of the apprenticeship?
So I will answer the second question first. We don't provide benefit during the apprenticeship program period, but once we convert you to full-time employee, the benefit will kick in on your first day when you join the company. So pretty much all the team members in technology were kind of hybrid remote setting at this moment. So we have been doing this for the last 2 years. Once once you join the company, like the mentorship and also if there's any, we have like on-demand new employee, like new orientation program as well. So everything will be handled remotely. And also at the same time, you have you can reach out to your HR. We have HR operation team, which is help taking care of the employee on daily basis. So they can be reached out. They can be doing office hours, so anytime. And if you need help, there are some resources available for you. Although you're going to work remotely.
Thank you. And just to be sure this is super clear, because there's a couple of questions about this, I'll just go ahead and ask it. Is Realtor.com 100% remote? Are there offices that folks can go into if they want? Will these apprentices be expected to be on site at any time?
So the whole company setup, it depends on the function. So we have some functions is 100% on site, and generally speaking, technology is employee's choice. So you can choose on-site, hybrid, remote, as long as it's approved by your manager. So it really depends on the function and also your location as well.
Great, thank you. This is a pretty upvoted question. How much does the team use Swift UI versus UIKit in their tech stack?
I can answer that. We're like mainly UIKit at the moment, but we're like transitioning over to Swift UI. Like here in like we're small. We have like small part of the code base Swift UI, but not a lot. I'll probably say 95% UIKit right now, 95% Swift UI.
A few people have asked this question. What does a typical day or week look like in the life of a Realtor.com engineer? And specifically, one person asked, like, how much of your time is spent in meetings versus actually doing coding?
I would let our dev team answer that question because I think it's more relevant for them. So, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Rodrigo.
Usually we spend some part of the day reviewing PRs from other teams, not only your team, but also any other team that's open a PR. And we do have the stand-up that we provide updates about what the ticket, how the ticket is going on, if there is any blocker, things like that. we use Scrum. So we have the ceremonies, like the sprint planning every 2 weeks, the retro every 2 weeks. We have the grooming to refining the tickets, make sure they are ready to work on the following sprint. And as Fernando mentioned, we have a weekly iOS meeting. We discuss some technical stuff, or sometimes some issue you're facing, some challenge or something new that Apple released, or things like that. And yeah, the meetings are pretty much about the ceremonies, as I mentioned, like the stand-up, which is a pretty short one, and then the retro, the planning, the grooming, the iOS one, and that's pretty much. I mean, sometimes we have some meetings just to discuss initially about the features, or just to make sure everything is clear. From everybody's perspective. That's mostly, I guess. Anyone from SAC has anything to add on that?
Just to add on top of that, sorry, just 1 minute. So we also have no meeting Thursdays, where there would be no meeting for any of the developers, where we give them ample time to put their head down and code. So yeah, that is also one of the things which I just wanted to let you guys know. Generally, we have agile process. We have stand up daily in the morning, and generally, I think it's 1 to 2 hours per day where we get development team involved with the meeting. Over to you, Mark.
Yeah, I was just going to say that while Rodrigo was talking, I looked at my calendar, and I think most meetings are half an hour. Stand up is 15 minutes. In the week, I only saw 1 meeting that was 45 minutes. So yeah, there's probably on average like 2, less than 3 per day. So it's not a significant part of the day. I don't think.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Another question is, what are some things that apprentices or junior engineers have done on your team that have made a strong impression?
Which type of engineer, sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, what are some things that an apprentice or a junior engineer has done on the team to make a strong impression?
Maybe I can take that question. So this is our first apprentice program, but however, we do have interns who generally join our squad or our mobile team. So there was a engineer who joined about, I think, six months ago as an intern, and he had no background in iOS. He was an Android developer, or he has taken the Android courses in his grad. So he joined our team, and he, started working on the refactor or the re-architecture of our app on the Android side. And I would say he has done such an excellent job. I would not call him an intern. He was working like a senior developer, and he was the main person who actually helped us, get the basics right for our architecture, which is a Redux. So yeah, I would say our, one of the interns who, and this is just one example, whosoever, who has come in our team as an intern or as a co-op has left their mark, and supporting us or working in some of the areas which are very critical in our app. So yeah.
Great. The next question is, does accessibility play a huge role in developing the iOS app? Does the dev team take into account users with motor, visual, and auditory impairments? It seems like Apple has provided a lot of tools for developers to accommodate folks in those populations, but some apps seem to miss these folks.
I can speak to the accessibility if anybody wants. So a bit more than a year ago, we did a complete exhaustive audit of the entire app. And there was already accessibility in the app, but it was an audit to find like any deficiencies. So we have regular audits from accessibility experts. That's their job to do this kind of thing. And they work with us to kind of collaborate on like what is the best remediation. So at that point, we basically did it where like all screens are covered. But as it pointed out in the details, whoever asked that question has a very good understanding, is like there's for example, having voiceover support, but there's also like using rotor support or mouse support or keyboard support. So there's still room to add those very specific inputs. But we have very comprehensive coverage of like the essential tooling.
Thank you. Next question is, are designers embedded in the mobile dev teams at Realtor.com, or are they on separate design teams?
So they have a separate design team, but however, we have a dedicated designer which is assigned to each and every squad in the mobile team. So yes, you can call it. Yes, we have a dedicated designer for every squad.
Okay, great. This is for the panel in general. How did you find your way into mobile development? What attracted you to the field?
I can answer a bit. So before I was developer, I was a Java web developer back in the 2017, 2008, 9, 10. And yeah, I did that for 7 years. And then I changed it to project management. I did a post graduation on that. I got a PMC certification. So I stayed away from development for about 3 years, 3-4 years. And then to be honest, I got bored. I started missing development, but I decided I don't want to do what I was doing before. I didn't want to do the same thing. I didn't want to be back a Java web developer. And then I decided there's something that always was appealing to me was mobile development. And that time I already have an iPhone, a Mac, and then I decided to learning iOS. And that's what brought me to Canada, actually, because I came to Canada to do a boot camp in Vancouver. And one thing to get to another, and now I'm here living for 7 years, working as an iOS developer for the last 5. So yeah, what was appealing to me was more about, I like to develop something that you can see on your hand and show anywhere, anytime. This was something different because I was a Java web developer, and I just didn't want to do the same thing again and then try something new. And yeah, that's my experience, my path to the mobile development.
Does everybody want to give their story? I don't know.
Yeah, I can share. For me, it was mainly it's like a business decision, because I figured like the millennials and Gen Z people who are like phone fluent are getting older, becoming more of like the spending population. So maybe like better job security. So that was my thinking back then.
I'll tell mine. So I've done a lot of different dev, like native on laptops, server stuff, web stuff, whatever. And there's kind of, yeah, you see the market moving in a certain direction. So maybe when I started, people were on desktop computers. That was their like workstation or personal computer. And then everybody kind of moved to laptops. There was a point where laptops won. They were like 51% of computers sold or used or whatever. And at some point, phones came up, and it was like, you see these aha moments where people are like sitting on their couch and they have a big TV screen, but they're still watching it on their phone. Or, you know, like you don't bother to go to open your laptop, you have your phone. Like it became the true personal computer. Like people talked about the PC for years, but like a lot of time computers were shared, like in the family or something like that. But the phone became like your PC. And then you'd be out like in a pub or whatever, in like uni or just at work, and people are like, oh yeah, you think that's true? I've got Wikipedia. And like it was this thing you have in your pocket, and it was like the most real and the most tangible software was mobile, more than all the other stuff that we'd maybe everybody here has done for years, where it was like on a screen in a room somewhere. So yeah, it just, for something you want to be able to share and make real, something that's inherently so virtual, it just very compelling.
Great, thank you all. Will the apprentices be working amongst each other on the same team, or will they be assigned to different teams?
I can take that. So as I said, we have 5 different squads. So each apprentice would be working in different squad. Yeah, definitely. If they are, if they want to learn something different other than their squad work or any other, areas of the different squad, yeah, they are welcome to do so. But most likely they'll be having a dedicated squads.
Thank you. This one's for the whole panel. What's the best quality you've seen from a coworker if you had to pick one?
I can take that first. I would say the collaboration, that is the best quality, I would say. I have seen not in one person, actually in the whole team, where, we do not think only for our squad, but, just in case we have to get something done within some time span, and we extend our help to other squads, asking, if you need any help, please, we are there to support you. So we collaborate and, coordinate with them and get the work done. So collaboration is one of the quality which I see we have in our team, our coworkers.
I agree, and I will add teamwork. That's more important for me than like being a super expert and skilled iOS developer, but you cannot like work together with other people. So we are here to learn and teach together. Always make sure that you are not just going to come here to learn. You are always going to teach us something. So that's something that I really care about. I don't want people that like they are pretty good in coding, but they cannot kind of like communicate and live together with other team members. So I have some good examples here, like all these 3 other developers, they helped me a lot, even though they work with different squads. So that's what I expect from each one of you.
I think when you specifically work with juniors, I've done a lot of pair programming with all skill levels and a lot of juniors over the years. You come together, you share ideas, and it's not just kind of saying what to do, because usually if the juniors on the task, they have the context, so they actually know the problem more, but they're coming and asking for some perspective or advice. And often you give multiple pieces of thing to follow up, not just one step at a time, but like 5 things to follow up. So that actual detailed, thorough follow-up on everything, which might involve some research or whatever, is the most important. That it's not like you collaborate for an hour and then someone just does one thing and then not the rest of the 4 things or whatever. So yeah, so the ones who stood out, when we talk about who stands out, it's that thing that like they meet up, they might take in 2 or 3 seniors and we all like hash something out, and then they just go and they do all the stuff. And you build trust when you see people who do that, like I can count on them, and that's when you really appreciate them.
Thank you. How involved in product and feature design and discussions are Realtor.com software engineers?
I can take that. So yes, our product team is very fairly involved in any feature development, and the idea always comes from them. We hash it out with the product designer and engineering first to get the, just to have a good understanding whether it's feasible to build this feature or not. So yes, product help us to come up with the, what are their roadmap and what are their vision, and we try to help them, getting that vision fulfill. So yes, product is involved in every regard.
Yeah, and one more thing, each squad, for each squad, we have one product manager, one QA, one designer assigned. So you are working together on a daily basis in all the stand-ups. They are like together with you, so you can put like any points of concerns you might have, and they will discuss if it makes sense, if we should change priority. So we have a pretty tight integration with the product team and with the design team. So expect that you are going to collaborate with our features and define what is best for our app.
Thank you. Are work schedules flexible in terms of making your own schedule as long as you complete your work, or do folks work a typical 9-to-5 schedule?
I can take that as well. So generally we work 9-to-5 schedule depending on which time zone you are in. But however, we have a core hours where we would expect everyone to be there, which is 9 to 2 PST. So we would like, people to be there available on the Slack or attend the meeting between that core hours.
Thank you. What are some of the coolest features you've contributed to at Realtor.com? Is there anything in addition to interesting projects that makes you excited to start your workday?
I can get started and people can definitely contribute to that. One of the big thing which we just introduced or we are rolling out is our design uplift effort, where we are uplifting our, the look and feel of our application. And this is the collaboration between different squad, the whole mobile team. So that is one of the big feature, which I'm very excited and looking forward to getting rolled out to 100%. Currently, it's 30%. By next week, it will be 100. Second thing is that is specific to my squad, which I'm very excited about, was the first time user experience, which is totally a new onboarding experience for the user, which also, we are doing some A/B testing on that. There is also a very cool feature we just recently built. And third, importantly, it's not a feature, but our, the architecture and the refactor of our application. I would say that is also very exciting thing where we are re-architecting our app, especially for the iOS. So yeah, these are the things which is really cool about our, upcoming thing.
I think just for context, the design uplift that Ruchi was mentioning, it sounds like one feature, but it's basically more than a year worth of work from all the squads. So I don't know, like 30+ engineers for more than a year working together to redesign the application. So it's a big initiative that we are like super excited to finally launch to 100%.
Yeah, to add on to that, I also just finished part of a new screen of design uplift, and there's a lot more to go through. So we're excited to work through those and make an impact to the app.
And I think at times there's individual features, but that people see, but also what's cool is the people who bring a certain perspective to the under the hood thing. So there'll be some people who know Swift UI who give more guidance to that, or some people who are using the new combined stuff who are giving input to that, or the actor stuff. So it's some people understand how time zones work really well, so they share it. So it's everybody can kind of speak to like the things they know and they care about. So some people really care about accessibility and are really knowledgeable about that. So you don't see it in just like a feature. It kind of hits all the screens and all this stuff. So I don't know. So I like, and then learning from those people as they're sharing that passion.
Thank you. How is feedback or review given at realtor.com, and how is it expected to be taken?
Want to talk, Jen, or I can talk? Yeah, so I'll talk like by the engineer standpoint. So I have bi-weekly one-to-ones with my manager. So it's a chance for both of us to provide feedback about our work. Also like to kind of like define our roadmap, not just for the short term, for the long term. So for example, if I want to become a manager in the future, it's where like he can probably help me to like do something here, do something there. And it's something that you can work together, or even sometimes if you want in the long term to move to a different squad, to a different position, you want to be like a product manager, you want to be like a QA engineer. So this one-to-one is an opportunity for you to talk about it. But that's kind of like the formal meeting we have. I think it's something all the employees at Realtor, they have something like this with their direct managers. But we have this in a daily basis everywhere, like in the Slack channel, in emails. I worked with this design uplift, and like every day I could hear people talking like good things or like maybe questioning other things. And so this feedback is constant, and it happens like in all different channels. So it can be like in a meeting, it can be like on the Slack thread with a lot of people, it can be like with your manager or even with other people in other squads. So this is something that will happen all the time. This feedback is provided for you.
I think what Fernando is referring, that we believe in like constant feedback instead of just having to wait a month or 6 months to tell you how are you doing or what are you doing great. I think that's what Fernando is referring. Like it could be in a Slack, in an email, it could be personal, it could be in a one-on-one. So when you hear it, it doesn't come as feedback anymore. It's just more sharing information on what's working, what are you doing well, where can you adjust. And I think for just thinking about the apprentice program, there's going to be feedback that comes from your mentor, because also as part of the mentor, they also need to learn how to provide feedback, right? So it's kind of like learning goes both ways. And then you will also be having your manager, and you will also get feedback from them as well. So you're gonna be receiving feedback from multiple people as part of your apprentice.
And as being like a engineer, you make code, you make pull requests, and so people are giving you feedback on that specific code, and you're reviewing other people and you're giving them feedback on their code. And as a member of a squad, we every 2-week sprint we have our retro. So everybody, it's anonymously entered, but then shared, so you can you can like speak to the comment or just slide it in there, whatever you want, where you give feedback on just what's been going on that affects the squad as a whole.
Thank you so much. There's a question about pair programming. Will apprentices be working a lot in pairs?
I would say probably, right? I guess that's part of the process. We understand like each one of you probably have like a different background, and we are expecting that all the help that you need will be provided by your mentors. If it's pair programming, if it's like pointing to a source of information. But
yeah. When you code together with someone, when you pair with someone, that it tends to be when you're not researching, right? You fundamentally know what you're trying to do, and someone's driving, somebody's navigating. But in any kind of domain that's new, or even to people who are still onboarding, there tend to be periods where you'll go off and need to research a little. So it's like it can vary quite a bit how much someone will teach you as you pair, or create contact points of saying, okay, well, here's the next step. Follow up on this yourself, come back when you're ready, and then we'll pair. So you can be like intermittent pairing, or you can do continuous. So it can vary on a personal level, like how people approach that.
Next question, what are Realtor.com's initiatives for employee learning and development?
Are these like trainings, Diana, that we have, or?
Is this specifically for the program itself? So I'm trying to understand where the question coming from.
They might be speaking just in general, like as an employee of a Realtor.com, what are some, company initiatives to foster development and learning?
Yeah, so we have RDC Academy is more like a training on demand. I'm more talking about the general trainings. Jen and Ruchi, maybe you can jump in for like technical skill trainings. So generally speaking, for most of the soft skills, we have online course under our RDC Academy. So there are courses you can like select on demand what other skill set you want to get training on. On top of that, we also have a mentor program within, it's more like in-house mentor program. If you are, we had success in the past, like if someone, for example, I'm in HR, but I'm interested in product or design some other functions, we can actually pair you with a mentor, and then you can understand what the position look like, and then you can decide if it's a correct path you want to move in. So there's like a in-house one-on-one mentor program for other skill set you're interested, or even like leadership skills you want to improve. That's more like, and we also there is a tuition reimburse program in RDC. So each year, each full-time employee has up to $2,500. You can, take online training or some other courses, as long as it's approved by HR and your manager. So that's more like a general training. It's not specific for the technical skills.
The one that I was going to mention was the 2,500, because there's a lot of conferences like that iOS engineers can go if they find them useful. Yeah, and then the other one is that we have O'Reilly books if you are into reading.
All right, thank you. So we're pretty close to time. So I wanted to close out with a question that I always ask at the end of these panels, which is, if you had one piece of advice to the participants that are in this call, what would that be? And I'll open that up to the panel.
I'd say don't be courageous to ask questions and to be okay for not knowing.
That's a good point. And I'll add that, like, you need to be prepared to be challenged every day. We know that, like, you are all learning, but even like for us, every week we have to take something that we never saw before. And probably for people that are learning iOS development right now, they are taking the path that's more like Swift UI, and it's more like a straightforward path. And since we have like our app for more than 5 years, you can expect much more than that. You can expect like our code base is going to be mixed with a lot of different stuff that's more complicated than what you're seeing in like books or entry-level courses. So be ready to be challenged, to learn a lot, and to collaborate a lot.
Yeah, I would also echo the same as Jen and Fernando said. So positive attitude, willingness to learn, and of course, can-do attitude towards any challenge.
And my advice would be just try to get yourself exposed to a lot of code as possible. Open source is a great opportunity to learn. Reading others people code and copying, pasting, and trying to understand yourself was what helped me a lot when I was trying to learn as well. But so yeah, just get yourself exposed and try to solve a lot of problems, and don't give up.
There's like a lot of principles of software, like how to write software well. And part of it is learning the principles and then becoming familiar, like in practice, and like building instincts over time of what to do, because there's many ways of doing it. There's not one way of solving any of these things. Every time we're writing a simple thing, we're like, which of these 3-4 ways am I getting to it? So like, it just accept that there's always many ways, and there's always trade-offs, and there's always many opinions, and that's why the collaboration, the communication is key to like figure out what we're doing right now and how we're doing it right now. And just take every feedback as an opportunity to research and learn about these principles, like what is the Swift language, what is solid, what is object-oriented, whatever, like, and just, it'll come. It's all taken us years, so it'll come.
Well, thank you so much. I know we're right at time. I just want to say thank you to all the participants for joining us, for your great questions. Again, if you have questions specifically about the application, please check out the FAQ on the role page. If it's not answered there, please write to us at support@onramp.io. We're happy to help out. Thank you so much to the panelists for spending some time today answering the questions. I know that everybody here probably really appreciated getting a little bit more of an insight about what it's like to work on your teams. And hopefully you'll be meeting quite a few of them in the finalist round soon. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Good luck.
Have a
Good luck
good
for
one.
everyone.